this is Sarah Simmons from NBC The Voice, and you're listening to Dispatch Radio.
All right, folks, we have a great guest with us. You may know her from some of her popular shows, like her appearance on Gossip Girl, or Two Broke Girls, or maybe even her role in Twilight, Breaking Dawn. Andrea Gabriel's with us. We're going to talk about a new project that she's got that's kind of exploded on YouTube, as well as kind of some of her roles in her resume. So, Andrea, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Oh, we're so blessed, and thank you for fitting us into your busy schedule. And let me get right to your new music video. A kind of I don't know, is comedy a new thing for you to get into this? It's called Clever Girl, and very, very amusing music video. We're going to try to link to that on our coverage here. Tell us how this all came about and what it's like to kind of dive into the comedic realms.
Well, I did pretty much nothing but comedy when I was doing theater in New York back in the day. So it was always something that was a part of me, and I love laughing, and I love making people laugh, and I love just working with comedic people. And then, I came out here, and what tends to happen is the first thing you do is kind of what you keep doing, which is not, I love drama as well, but people didn't really know that side of me, and I was finding it hard to broadcast that. So I'm just like, well, then I'll make my own thing, and it was challenging because it was really my first foray into producing and putting together a crew and really kind of like getting the pieces together and being on that side of it and in front of the camera. But it was so much fun.
Did you write all of this together yourself, or did you?
I wrote the song and I wrote the video. So the whole synopsis and the story and the editing together of it was all my doing. So it's sort of my own little collage. And it's a song. I wrote a lot of songs, but most of them, go figure, were kind of dramatic. Also, I wrote them when I was younger and were very angsty. So I wrote a bunch of really sad songs, and then I wrote this one song that was funny, and it was a different vibe to it. And I was like, well, this would actually make a really good short, like a comedic short, except instead of a script, to have a song. So that's kind of just how it came about. I'm not looking to become a recording artist or anything like that. It was just another way of expressing my creativity.
Well, it's definitely a little bit of a contrast from some of the roles that folks may know you from. However, you did appear on, some other work that, it's a little bit light at times. Two Broke Girls is definitely kind of up that same alley.
That was actually very recent, so maybe this is sort of opening.
You're at a turning point here. Maybe we've gone to something that, you have as a passion, and now you can kind of go down that road as well.
Yeah, I'd love to do both, like Jennifer Aniston or something like that. Like, kind of straddle both worlds.
Well, we could always turn Twilight into a comedy because to some, that might be well embraced.
Already.
Yeah. But it's got to be pretty cool to be part of such a big franchise. I mean, do you still have folks just stopping you and recognizing you from that movie? I don't want to get to Lost yet because I got to ask the same question about that. But what has been the fallout from something like Twilight? Because it's just so massive.
Well, I know it's huge. I think what happened was I came into Twilight really late in the game. So, in my I guess you'd call it chapter, the Breaking Dawn Part 2, there are all of these international vampires that come on the scene. So I'm part of the Egyptian coven, and so there's the Irish coven, there's the Romanian coven, there's the Serbo-Croatian, whatever, like, just a bunch of very, just all over the world. Oh, they're Amazons. So, I'm kind of like a part of a huge, almost cast of characters. So I very rarely get recognized for that, even though when people hear I'm a part of it, they become very excited. And they're like, oh, yeah, you. But, with Lost, I also very rarely get recognized. I think it's because I'm so different from the character I play on that.
Well, on Lost, of course, you're Saeed's love interest. You were on quite a few episodes, and you kind of spread out over the long history of the show, and just a show that, I know, Twilight has its legacy, and will forever be remembered, especially among the group that was the target audience. But Lost was something special. Lost will never go away, and Lost has spawned the career of so many amazing writers and producers and actors that have going on to amazing other things. And when you look back, did you know you're in the middle of that, or was it like lightning in a bottle? I mean, what was it like in the middle of that?
Well, I did, because I mean, when I got cast, I was probably in the 8th episode in. It's actually probably the 9th, including the pilot, but it was number 8. So I was in because I think there were something like 22 episodes in the first couple seasons.
Right.
And so I was on really early in, and I think only maybe 3 episodes had aired on the mainland here by the time I went out there. So they had been out there since, for a while, maybe since, I guess, I don't know, I want to say August or whatever. They had been out there for a while, so they hadn't really gotten a sense of the zeitgeist. They were just like, oh, I hear our ratings are awesome. And I was like, you guys don't know, because everybody was talking about it. It was only like a few episodes, and everyone was going crazy.
So anyway, so you show up to production, you've got, you got Matthew, you got all these folks, and they don't even realize how big this show is yet because they're still in production.
Yeah, and they're in Hawaii.
Yeah, right. So they hear the good news, but they don't really understand that what they have on their hands is already a phenomenon. You get to go back to jump into the middle of season 1, and you're like, wow, this is incredible.
I was like, you guys don't even know. I felt like I was like trying to like be a little parrot, like squawking the future. I'm like, no, you're going to be huge. But I, by the time I came back from season 2, they knew. Everybody knew. The trailers knew. Everybody knew. It was a different vibe season 2. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just different. But that first season was really magical because it was just sort of just right on the cusp,
Who cast you? Who did you meet with to get the role of Nadia?
April Webster does the casting for that, and she's just phenomenal. She's one of the best casting people there is. She's just so gifted, and it's a real talent being able to cast people and put a bunch of people together, and it doesn't get the credit it deserves all the time, but she's just one of the best. And I think she won an Emmy for that, which is so well deserved. She had a casting call, and actually when I went in, I kind of get the sense that maybe somebody was Nadia and fell through or had conflicts, or maybe there were visa problems, who knows. But it was very, very quick. Like, I went straight to producers. There was a huge session, probably there were just tons of girls there. They were auditioning Nadia and Danielle at the same time, the French chick, the crazy French chick. So they were having auditions for both of us at the same time. And I remember that day, I was just sort of like, I had no idea. I knew the show took place on an island, so I didn't know why I was in Iraq. Like, I didn't know how they were putting this together because I hadn't seen an episode yet. I think only the pilot had aired. So they had flashbacks, but I don't think they had really gotten to Saeed yet. So I didn't even know. I was like, the Republican Guard? Wait, is there like some sort of an army on the island? What's going on?
And by the way, let's add to the visual of this, we have a whole bunch of Danielles in line with Nadia. So just by the way, the visual alone, if you know the show, folks, is actually very, very amusing. Of like, what is going on here? Anyway, just a side note for those of you that are, if you're a Lost fan, you're now getting what Andrea just revealed to us, because that's really, really quite amusing. So, you have this franchise, and then, of course, you get this opportunity to come in at the tail end of the Twilight saga and get that really cool role. But now, obviously, you've got the 2 Broke Girls, Gossip Girl, you've been on a few other shows, and those kinds of things. How does it feel to see everything kind of twist more towards TV and comedy, or what is it that Andrea is really starting to see in herself and where her career is going?
Well, I think it's putting just, I've really only done one movie thus far, so it's always been TV, which is, I love TV, especially when it's, local, because you get to you get to keep the friends and the cat, and I mean, you don't have to worry about who's going to watch him for months at a time. These are things that actors actually have to worry about. Like, I mean, I can only imagine when you have kids. It's like, who's going to watch the cat?
Must be a great gig, by the way. Just be like the pet caregiver of Hollywood and celebrity elite. Exactly. That's what I want. Y'all need to start having a base camp down here in Florida so we can like have that for my kids. My kids have like the greatest college jobs ever. What do you do? Well, I watch Andrea Gabriel, the chick from Lost. Yeah, I watch her cat and dog when she goes away on set to Iraq.
I live at their house. I drive her car. It's all right. I'm just like, sometimes I'll throw that in to sweeten the gig. I'm like, how's your insurance? Oh, so you can drive my car. So it's just, just live in my house, please. Rent free. So I do love TV, and I think what I would just love to see more roles. I mean, on Gossip Girl, I played a woman from Saudi Arabia, but I had a British accent, and then on Gossip Girl, I played a French woman. So I love playing different nationalities, and I really see myself more as a character actress, kind of in a Meryl Streep sort of vein. God willing, I'm as good as she is one day, but meaning I can put on a lot of different roles and kind of faces, and that's the kind of career I wanna carve out. I don't want to just play myself over and over again, which actors tend to do because people really, really like them, which is cool. But I want to confuse people a little bit. I don't want to confuse them so much that they don't realize that I am American, which is funny. That happens too. I think I was up for something at one point, and I don't even know who this casting person was, but they said to my manager at the time, they said, "Oh, we just can't use her. Her accent is way too strong." And he said, "She's American."
Wow, that's incredible. Well, you know what? That's a tribute to what you've already done, because they're obviously looking at some of your other work and going, "Listen, this is who she is." They just don't realize, Ma and Pa grew up, they were soap opera stars, and I'm kind of American, and, hey. That's
it's really funny. It's it's almost like it's adorable, because you imagine that everyone in Hollywood, and I think they do, everyone knows that we're playing make-believe. I mean, this isn't who we really are, but then it's almost like, they don't believe that Santa takes off the beard. It's like, wait, you guys, you hired me to play something. I'm just playing it.
Right. Now, the family, you grew up, your parents doing soaps, and you started out, and you've done a lot of that kind of stuff. Do you miss a little bit of that daytime drama stuff, or is that just like the cool beginning, and you've kind of turned the page on some of that?
Oh, I was never really a soap opera person. My parents were, which, it gave them a lot of stability, which was great, because they pretty much had 9 to 5s. I was raised in Manhattan, and they both worked at studios in Manhattan, and they'd be home every night, I mean, there was no location, there was no, really long hours except on specific, really hard days or whatever, but it was really stable, like, as far as actors go. I'm like, probably have one of the most regular childhoods that you could imagine. So sometimes I would kind of get thrown on these shows just, as kind of a take your kid to work day. It wasn't like I auditioned that was very, dramatic child role. It was sort of like, oh yeah, let's just put her in. It was kind of that easy. So I didn't really see it as acting so much as just like hanging out with my parents. And then once I got older, then as soon as I kind of figured out that I wanted to do it too, that's when I just got into training and started doing a lot of theater, like a lot of theater in New York, which is a very good school. There's nothing like doing theater first, because if you do theater first, everything else is cake, Well,
and that's what everybody says, and they usually, kind of pine for it, to have it back in their life again. I think I just did an interview yesterday, and Raphael Esparge from Once Upon a Time says, some of the best advice I had was just do one play a year or every other year. Stay in touch with that piece of your history. So do you have a bit of that advice from your past that you kind of still cling to?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would love to do theater again. It just has to be the right project with the right people. I mean, because it really is a lot of work, and you're not getting medical insurance for this, people. There's not a lot of money in theater unless you've got some huge sweet deal and you're a movie star who's coming in for a couple of months or something. And even then, they're not paying you much because, especially the theaters in New York, I mean, real estate is expensive there, and they got to pay the rent, so they can't be paying the actors, like movie star rates, really, because they're also not going to have the same. They're not going to have the same take home. They're not going to get the same number of people in seats because it's not playing around the world. Right. So, there are certain just economics to doing theater that unfortunately you have to take into account when you want to eat.
Sure.
But I do love it, and as soon as I've got a kind of career that can support a theater habit, I'd love to get back into it.
The theater habit, that is fantastic.
I didn't come up with it. It's true. It's like I do movies to support my theater habit.
That is fantastic. That should almost be a bumper sticker in Hollywood and New York, right? I'm just doing this role to support my theater habit.
Exactly.
If we get Kevin Spacey behind that, because he'd totally be on board with that motto, and it would go viral. You'd be rich, and you just throw me a little too.
You might have come up with it in the first place. I knew I didn't think it up. It's true. It's a lot of fun. But I got to be honest with you, like movies and TV, it's a sweet deal. It's a very sweet deal, and it's not. Pretty much, you can throw anything out there, and if there's a talented editor and a talented cinematographer, you could look very cool. If you're doing theater and you're not good, no one's going to look stupid but you.
Yeah.
So you better know what you're doing, which is why I think theater actors, they usually the best actors do come from theater.
All right. Well, we've been talking with Andrea Gabriel, and what a treat. The music video is called Clever Girl, a great comedic piece, and hopefully this is not her first and last endeavor, and that she will continue to branch out from there, because it was definitely a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it.
Right now I'm working on a pilot for a web series that I wrote and am producing and starring in, so that will come next.
Well, then we'll have to be in touch again so we can talk about the pilot and web series.
I would love that. I'm a mogul.
That's it. Now, well, you know what? Hey, once you venture down the road and you get a little taste of this, then next thing you know, you start finding new strengths and new gifts that you may not even realize that you have, and you fall into stuff like this. This is kind of, we usually find that as we do interviews, and start to pull back the layers and stuff like that, and you start to see, this incredible ambitions and drives that you guys come with, and
thanks.
Really, really exciting. So definitely be in touch with that. That's wish you the best with that, because that's. Yeah, Clever Girl was a great, to know that's your first time. It's really pretty cool. To be perfectly honest, that's pretty good stuff.
Oh, thanks so much.
So,
I really appreciate that, Brandon. Thank you.
So what is you guys, you got to be doing the Twitter and the Facebook and all that. Everybody else is. So what is your Twitter and Facebook that people can catch up with you on?
Oh, yeah, Twitter is A Gabriel Tweet. That's A Gabriel Tweet, as in sweet tweet. And then just if you go on Facebook, it's just Andrea Gabriel, writer-director. It's easy to find. I like to put out a lot of positive stuff on there, and I'm very accessible at this point. Like if you message me or you talk to me, I will respond to you. Or if you tell me that you listen to this interview and you wanna ask me any other questions, I mean I do check it all myself. So.
Well, you heard it for yourself, folks. Andrea Gabriel's available. So if you're a Twilight fan, pop by your birthday party, cool with the kids. For all you lost addicts at the next Comic-Con, you'll know. No, I'm just getting carried away.
Exactly.
All right. Andrea Gabriel, thank you again for fitting us in your schedule, and we look forward to hearing about the pilot and the web series that you got coming out, and catching you on a few more of these shows. Those shows aren't done with you yet. I don't know if they're calling you or not, but I got a good feeling that you got some more roles coming with some of those shows already. So.
Oh, thanks, mister.
All right. You take care of yourself.
You too. Have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.